Blueberries. Hi, Ag Secretary Doug Fisher here. Local Jersey Fresh blueberries are bigger, better, and full of flavor. They're available right now at your favorite market. Love fresh? Buy local. Jersey Fresh.
South Jersey's play-by-play home for the Eagles,
Touchdown!
Sixers,
It's good!
and Flyers.
Oh, big save by Carter Hart.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
Oh, what a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Josh Hennig here on a Friday edition of Game Night, and the Phillies won last night. I did not expect that at all. What I did expect was the Sixers to trade the 23rd overall pick. They did, and we will get into what that means for them moving forward. Plus, NBA offseason and the weekend. It's here. Hanging out with you in the 97.3 ESPN Matt Black Kia Studios, live on your radio on 97.3 ESPN FM and on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. I am Josh Hennig, hanging out with you. Bryan Toporek from the NBA podcast. He is also an NBA writer for Forbes Sports. He will join us coming up in less than 20 minutes from now to dig deeper into who the Sixers acquired, what it means for the NBA offseason, Kyrie, Irving, all that crazy stuff. We'll get into with Bryan coming up. But I want to give you my thoughts on the draft last night, first of all, because I purposely tried to stay off of social media as much as I could in recent days, just for a variety of reasons. And I got to tell you guys, you know, when I saw them make the announcement on the screen as the Sixers were making a trade while I was watching the Phillies game, I kind of felt, I don't want to say I was relieved, but I kind of felt like, you know, all right, here it is. Here we go. And I was pleasantly surprised. I was pleasantly surprised that Daryl Morey went out and acquired a guy who makes sense for this team. Now, I'm not saying that because I think Daryl Morey's an idiot or I don't think Daryl Morey knows how to do his job or anything like that. Okay. I am saying that because for me, when I went to the draft last night, I saw so many rumors about guys like Eric Gordon. I was concerned. I was concerned that Daryl Morey was just trying to do a Houston Rockets 2018 or 2016 team 2.0 with Joel Embiid at the center of it. And I'm glad to see that's not what they did at all. To me, it's very important with the trade that they made last night because it shows me that this organization didn't just find a way to bring in a player that makes sense for them, but they did it in a way that does not, you know, it doesn't put you in a situation where you have to sweat. You know, I believe that Melton from the Grizzlies, I must call them a Vancouver Grizzlies. No, they're in Memphis. They were in Vancouver about 20 years ago, if those don't remember. But from Melton for the Grizzlies, he is exactly what this team needs. He is a two-way player that is going to give you something you desperately needed this past year. He's going to give you a guy who comes off the bench, who's a reliable scorer and a reliable defender. This team had very poor perimeter defense at times. And for as hard as Tyrese Maxey tried, it wasn't enough. He's just not a great defender at this point in time. So now, here's what you have. You have a situation where the Sixers acquired a guy who makes sense. And I understand he's not a big name. I understand that he's not a sexy pick. I understand that there's a part of you that looks at DeAnthony Melton the same way, you know, you might look at that minivan. But you need the minivan. It's not the sports car, but you need the minivan. You can't put the kids in the back seat of the sports car It doesn't even have a back seat. Or with the 3-star safety rating. No. You need to get the CRV or the minivan. It's got the 5-star safety rating with third row seating for the kids and their friends because you know they're going to be playing sports. So that's what the Sixers did. They didn't go out and get the sports car. They went out and got the CRV with the 5-star safety rating that's going to turn on every time you put the key in the car. DeAnthony Melton is reliable. He's a guy who hits threes. He's a guy who can score. He's a consistent version of Shake Milton. And he's a better defensive version of Shake Milton. He's a guy who started multiple games when players like John Morant and Dillon Brooks missed time with Memphis last year. And I think that it's very important to have a guy who's still young but has experience. He brings you the defense and the offense that this team desperately needs. Look, I understand that Eric Gordon is appealing to some people because he's a name. But guess what? Corvette's got a name too. But you can't be driving a Corvette around if your goal is to have good gas mileage, okay? You might have to settle for something that's more economical. That's what Daryl Morey did. He settled for what was economical. He used the expiring contract of Danny Green to bring in a player who will be a part of this team for the next couple of years for his free agency. And now you still have Matisse Thybulle, Furkan Korkmaz, and other players that you can trade if you want to get somebody else or something else. Now, in the aftermath of the draft, I think that Matisse Thybulle's value might go up. Because one of the things that happened last night in the draft, we'll get in deeper with Bryan Toporek, there were a lot of guys who dropped in the draft. And there's a lot of speculation that some of the guys who went in the first round are not going to play at all this year. So some of those players who are these European stash guys, if they're not going to be available, then if you're a team like, let's say, OKC, and you're trying to make that next step from rebuild to maybe be a play-in team, or you're a team like Portland, for example, that's trying to reshape your roster, there's a plethora of teams out there that, let's be realistic, they could use a Matisse Thybulle. They could use a Furkan Korkmaz because they don't need those guys to play a ton of minutes like the Sixers did. Now, I understand for some people out there, they look at PJ Tucker and they just kind of roll their eyes because of the contract terms that were rumored online. But here's why I say that. Don't treat everyone the way that you think of playing a video game. I know PJ doesn't have sexy stats, but he's a winning player. He's an important player. You have a situation where we live in a world where you need guys like PJ Tucker to win championships. Look what happened with Golden State this year. A huge part of the reason why they won is because they had Gary Payton II. He wasn't scoring 20, 30 points a game, but he was doing the dirty work. We got to stop focusing on Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal isn't helping you win a championship. All he's doing is filling up salary cap room for you right now. Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of CLC. Text board is open at 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show through 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. We'll dig deeper into the NBA in about 10 minutes with Bryan Toporek. from the NBA podcast and also Forbes Sports NBA writer. Now, let's go to the other side of this conversation. The Phillies winning last night. I did not expect that, but it's a good sign. The Phillies got a win when they weren't expected to get a win. After losing 3 games, that we expected them to win 1 or 2 of those games. This is a big deal because you had to find a way to get out of the losing streak. You had to cut it down at its root, and that's exactly what they did. This organization went out there last night to San Diego against one of the best pitchers in all of baseball, and they basically won a staring contest, just like they did with Sandy Alcantara a couple weeks ago with the Marlins. They looked at this great pitcher who's having a great year, and they said, we're going to wait you out. We're still going to be here when you get high in the pitch count, when you start making mistakes, and we're going to capitalize. And that's exactly what they did last night. And kudos to Ranger Suarez for finding a way to stay in the game for as long as he did, because who knows what would have happened if Suarez has to come out of that game too early. They have to go to the bullpen, and then what happens? The offense finally came alive last night and did their job. Now, we need the offense to do that more consistently. We can't have this offense constantly going out there and shortchanging this organization. You spent a stupid amount of money on guys like Schwarber and Castellanos. You re-signed JT Realmuto for a lot of dough as well. You gave out money left and right with this team. You told us you had to keep Bohm and Hoskins for their bats. You told us the defense wasn't going to matter. Well, now the offense finally showed up last night. And I can't promise you it'll happen every night, but I thought the biggest winner from last night was Nick Castellanos. I talked with Steve Buchanan last night about how Castellanos has become a really disliked guy in this city because he's slumped. And look, he's had a really bad month. But I thought last night was important for him because even though he only had 1 hit last night, he had 4 productive at-bats. Before last night, Castellanos hadn't even gotten a hit in the last 4 games. Before that, Castellanos had 3 straight good hitting games, basically. And then he went into this mini slump again. Castellanos had 2 of those at-bats that he didn't get a hit in, though. The one, he made solid contact and it went right at the fielder. And the other one, I felt like he was trying to hit the ball the other way to move the runner, and he just happened to hit it where the fielder was instead of where the fielder wasn't. He's trying. And I thought last night might be a good sign for him to get out of this funk because you saw him making better contact. You saw him putting the bat on the ball, not just swinging past it. To me, that's a big deal for him moving forward. So for all the people who are frustrated with Castellanos, and you deserve to be, okay? In the month of June, he has 0 home runs, 8 RBI, 7 walks, and an on-base percentage of .267. Not good. That's this month alone. But before this month, Castellanos wasn't all bad. In April and May, he had 7 home runs, 28 RBI, and a batting average of .262. He was actually doing well. So don't let this bad month ruin your ability to trust Castellanos moving forward. I think eventually he will turn it around. All right, let's get back to the Sixers and the NBA on the other side. Bryan Toporek, co-host of the NBA podcast, Forbes Sports NBA writer, will join me next here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. All the news you need to know about the Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, Eagles, South Jersey High School sports, and of course, South Jersey life and culture, all that on the app. Download for free right now, 97.3 ESPN from the Google Play Store or from the Apple Store.
It's the Stanley Cup Final on Sports USA, and we're in Colorado for Game 5 as the Avalanche and Lightning collide for the chance to raise Lord Stanley's Cup. The Bolts are charged and ready to strike with Paul, Perry, or Palat. The Avs are back home and shooting pucks out of thin air as Landeskog, Manson, and Makar. It's the Lightning at the Avalanche, Game 5, tonight on your home for the Stanley Cup Final, Sports USA.
Coverage begins at 7:30 on 97.3 ESPN.
Belle Plaine Supply Gun Center is the only place to purchase all of your hunting and shooting needs. They are full-line Browning dealers, stocking a large selection of ammunition and firearms. Being hunters and shooters themselves is especially helpful to guide customers to make just the right selection. With the largest selection of Browning products and over 40 years of experience, a courteous sales and service staff await the first-time buyer, as well as the experienced hunter and shooter. Make your way to Belle Plaine Supply Gun Center, South Jersey's largest Browning dealer.
You want 8 of the flutes and onyx.
Shira's hand-blown glassware blows right off her store's shelves.
Check back for more indigo bowls.
She needs an inventory manager to help keep her stock on lock.
These are 100% borosilicate. Those aren't. Hey, can someone check the temp on the kiln?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by conducting interviews on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Zero down, zero down, zero down toward the purchase of any new or certified pre-owned Nissan at Matt Platt Nissan.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Platt Nissan.
It's on at Matt Platt Nissan. Stuck in a loan or lease? AJ the Trademan can get you released even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Just because you don't see your Matt Platt Nissan on the lot doesn't mean you can't drive it home tomorrow with zero down and 1.9% financing, even on certified pre-owned. And don't forget, AJ the Trademan will get you more for your trade, so you can drive a brand new Nissan. And of course, the Matt Platt Nissan Peace of Mind 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Only at MattPlattNissan.com. On approved Tier 1 credit through NEMAC. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle plus tax tag and $479 fee. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattPlattNissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 7/3/2022. It's on at Matt Platt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
What's all the buzz about cleaning your nose, nasal hygiene, and Navage? The science is simple. Your nose is the body's air filter for trapping allergens and viruses, but it's not perfect. Like washing your hands and brushing your teeth, it's time to start cleaning your nose too. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril to the back of the nose where most germs and viruses multiply, then flushes them out the other nostril before they reach your lungs. My name's Martin Hoke, and I didn't invent nasal irrigation. It's been around thousands of years. I did invent Navage to make it easy for everyone. In less than 30 seconds, you can clean your nose. And because it's all natural and drug-free, it's safe to use Navage every single day. Are you ready to join nearly 3 million people who use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier? At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage. Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
TracFone Wireless knows that everyone needs an endless amount of data, so why pay for it? Get unlimited talk and text with 8 gigabytes of high-speed data for just $40 a month. With unlimited carryover data, so you keep what you don't use. On America's largest and most dependable networks with nationwide 5G. Get high-quality smartphones at a great price. Just the data you need at the price you want. Learn more at TracFone.com today. TracFone Wireless, now you're in control. Available at major retailers. 5G compatible device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See terms and conditions at TracFone.com.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with expertise and tools with Windows 11 to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. To do more with a Latitude laptop, Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
By now, you know that sound. It's the sound of the Home Depot. But what about those sounds? Those are the sounds of a new laundry set that provides a powerful yet gentle clean in less time, making this the sound of savings on top brand appliances. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. Get up to 25% off plus 750 instant savings on select appliances. Valid June 22nd through July 13th. U.S. only. Gas dryer extra. See store for details.
With GMF financing, approved credit excludes Corvette and prior sales. There's big news just announced from Bennett Chevy in Egg Harbor Township. Bennett's got huge savings on every new Chevy in stock. And right now, this is huge. Bennett's paying a record-breaking minimum $10,000 for any trade, running or not. That's at least $10,000 towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. And we're loaded with them, so we're having a pre-owned liquidation. Hurry in for a minimum $10,000 for even the worst trade. And just think how much more you'll get for a good quality trade. As for new Chevys, unlike other dealers, Bennett's not selling over a factory sticker. Plus, there's 0% available financing. Stuck in a lease? We can get you out early, any make, any model, and we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't buy one of ours. Stop in for a quick quote. Never any pressure, never any obligation, because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. So come on and find new roads at Bennett Chevrolet, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
We'll get back to your guys' thoughts and comments in just a bit over on the text board at 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. But right now, we're going to dig deeper, as promised, into, well, as I said yesterday, the NBA draft is, for me, the unofficial start of the NBA offseason, because it's the first time that people can stop just throwing rumors out there and actually do something. Well, Daryl Morey did something. I like it, but I understand it's not sexy, and a lot of Sixer fans have no idea who Anthony Melton is, or they're like me and they forgot that the Grizzlies played in Memphis. I'm just kidding. Bryan Toporek joins us right now here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. You missed it earlier, Bryan. I almost called them the Vancouver Grizzlies instead of the Memphis.
Good stuff. Well, none of us slept well last night, so
right.
you got to just forgive all of us today.
Listen, all I can I don't want to give out my personal business already, but I'm just gonna say it's been a long 72 hours for me. Okay, I'm just gonna we'll leave it at that.
By
the way, fresh cut.
Yeah, had to get the good vibes going for the draft, and as you mentioned, if Sixers fans are not familiar with DeAnthony Melton, it's time to catch up, because I'm a big fan of that move.
I like the move too. I mentioned it earlier, Bryan, and I'll hand it off to you. Listen, I understand Sixer fans want the Corvette, but you need the third row seating with the minivan for the kids and all their friends, okay? And at the end of the day, I just saw the Warriors win with Gary Payton II and Kevon Looney playing huge roles. And I'm not saying that DeAnthony Melton is those guys, but I'm saying he's a lot better than what you had last year to play a role that you need.
Yeah, I mean, he's automatically the best player on the Sixers bench, just instantly. The fit with both Maxey and Harden should work, and I think it'll work in different ways. You can even, knock on wood, we can potentially see some 3-guard lineups with all three of them out there together. He shot 37.4% from three last year, averaged a career high 10.8 points per game. He was 41.2% the prior year. Knocked down more than almost 41% of his catch and shoot 3-pointers, which is exactly the archetype that the Sixers need. They just need someone to be able to stand in the corner and actually knock down threes instead of, some of their other options are not as reliable in that regard, and we don't need to name names. Defensively too. He is 6'2", but he's got a 6'8" wingspan, so he should be able to guard both backcourt positions, can even switch on to some smaller wings at times. Is a really good rebounder for his size. Incredible steal and block rates for a guard as well. So, I can understand why people, especially if you don't watch the Grizzlies or you mostly watch the Sixers, you probably haven't heard of DeAnthony Melton, because he was, he started 55 games in his NBA career. I would imagine he's going to come off the bench for Philly as well. But he's a really good rotation piece. And I'm right with you. Given the tools available to Daryl Morey last night in the Sixers, this is better than I thought they were going to be able to do. I'll be totally honest.
How important was it for you looking forward that they found a useful way to unload the Danny Green expiring contract?
Yeah, I mean, that was one of their major tools to upgrade this offseason. He was fully non-guaranteed until July 1st, so they could have just waived him if that was the path they wanted to go. But, you know, it's difficult to say which way they were going to go. If James Harden opts in, they're probably going to be limited to the $6.4 million taxpayer mid-level exception in free agency either way. So this trade for Melton makes it even more likely that they're going to go that route instead of clearing enough room to have the full $10.3 million non-taxpayer mid-level. So effectively getting in an actual credible rotation player, a playoff tested rotation player, and one, I mean, he's only 24. He just turned 24 last month. He's under contract for 2 more years. He's got 4 years of NBA experience. So this isn't an untested rookie who Doc Rivers is not going to trust and is going to bury on his bench for most of the year. Like, he's going to come in and should play an immediate role for this team, but is still young enough that, you know, it's not acquiring a 36-year-old here. Like, this guy has the potential to be a long-term member of the core as well.
I love the point you brought up about the long term, because that was my problem with the whole Eric Gordon rumors out there. Like, Gordon can't play defense. He's small and he's old. Like, I don't need that guy. Melton is not old. He's not tiny, and he plays defense. And I think that for Sixer fans, all they saw was, I remember Eric Gordon scoring 20-some points a game. And it's like, but the Sixers don't need that at this point. Like, you heard them say after the season, we need toughness. Kendrick Perkins keeps calling the Grizzlies the dark side. You know what I mean? Like, the Sixers just got someone from the dark side of the moon, basically.
Yeah, I mean, between Maxey, assuming that Harden resigns or opts in, however it happens, he's back next year. And they don't trade Tobias Harris. In Maxey, Harden, Tobias, and Embiid, you have 4 guys who can go off for 20 points or, you know, in Harden and Embiid's case in particular, 30 points on any given night. So you're absolutely right. They just need to surround those guys with role players. You don't need another high volume scorer. So Melton is probably not going to average 18 points a game, but that's okay. If he's going to knock down some open threes and play hard-nosed defense, especially point of attack defense has been one of the Sixers' biggest defensive issues for like the past how many years? And Melton is going to be able to actually address that. So like the Sixers still have holes to fill. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're done. They're going to kick their legs up, go to Cancun for the next 3 weeks. Like, they still have major holes to fill on this roster. But I think the way that they went about filling this one in particular was pretty smart.
Bryan Toporek is co-host of the NBA podcast, also Forbes Sports NBA writer, joining us right now here on GameNight on 97.3 ESPN. So now let's get into that offseason. Obviously, Morey and Brand are not going to Cancun. They're back at work today. Cancun can wait 2 months, basically, for them at this point. But with all seriousness, you mentioned the Harden thing. So putting Harden aside, because I feel like we're not really going to have a good answer about that for another week or so. What really are the Sixers' options? Like legitimate options, not random dude online saying Bradley Beal or, well, you know, Kyrie's interested in the Sixers or any of that. Like, Kyrie literally just tweeted a half hour ago about how great it is to be different. Like, I mean, like that's where we're at right now. So like, you know, so talk to the people out there who are maybe a little crazy and need to be, you know, brought back to reality when they're seeing names like Kyrie Irving and Bradley Beal.
Yeah. I mean, Kyrie is in his own world, so never say never with him about anything. I'm not even going to begin to try to predict what's going to happen with him. Beal is going to re-sign in Washington, I think, or if he doesn't, there are other teams that can offer a lot more. That is That is not going to happen. Going into the offseason, barring anything drastic in the next week, I think the most likely route is that the Sixers will have 13 guys under contract once Harden presumably opts in, which is what Jake Fisher of BR has reported he is planning to do. Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN has reported that that is the most likely outcome as well. They'll have about $151 million in change tied up in their roster already. That's going to limit them to this $6.4 million taxpayer mid-level exception. So, the PJ Tucker rumors that had been flying around for the past couple days, Keith Pompey of the Philadelphia Inquirer reported, multiple sources said the Sixers plan to offer him a 3-year, $30 million contract. That becomes a lot more difficult now. I don't really see the pathway to do that unless they trade Tobias Harris for a smaller deal, such as Kevin Love, Gordon Hayward. That could open up that room. Otherwise, I think they're going to have this $6.4 million taxpayer mid-level. And I'm going to have an article tomorrow at Forbes about some guys who might be a little bit out of their price range, but that includes Tucker for one, TJ Warren, Bruce Brown Jr. from the Nets, Kyle Anderson of the Grizzlies, Taurean Prince of the Timberwolves. I would guess all those guys are slightly too expensive. So I'd be looking at more Otto Porter Jr. from the Warriors, or Daniel House is the one guy. He played with Harden and under Morey in Houston. I think he probably could be within their price range. Gary Harris is another one. Nick Batum, it sounds like he's going to come back to the Clippers, but he's at least someone I would place a call until he resigns. Caleb Martin of the Heat is another one that I'd be, again, just placing a call, seeing what the price range is. So, Daryl spoke with reporters last night, said they've got probably 8 to 12 guys in their expected/projected price range that they think could be able to help the team. But I think, they're going to spend my guess is that they will be spending their mid-level exception on a wing who can challenge Matisse Thybulle for that starting 3 spot.
You mentioned challenging Matisse Thybulle, so let me throw this scenario out to you. Who is more likely to not be on this team next season? Matisse Thybulle or Tobias Harris?
Probably Matisse, just because he's going to have more trade value. Although at this point, I don't, before the Melton trade got finalized, which happened this afternoon, there was a chance that they could have added Matisse or Korkmaz or someone else into that deal, turn it into a 3-team, or take more salary back. Now, Matisse only earns $4.4 million next year. So unless you're combining him with Korkmaz, it's just hard to find an impact player earning anywhere close to that. So at this point of the offseason, I would think that both of them come back, honestly. But given how much extra they would probably have to attach to Tobias and how much extra they don't really have to attach to Tobias, I think, just by process of elimination alone, it would be Matisse.
I want to ask you some more questions about the NBA, a big picture here, Bryan. Don't forget, folks, the latest NBA podcast dropped today. Like, subscribe, download, give it the 5-star, whole 9 yards. Every little bit helps in a world where, well, we know what kind of world we live in. Anyway, so is it just me, or does it seem like a lot of guys got over and under drafted last night, depending on, which broadcast you were listening to?
Yeah, I think that speaks to this draft class in general. There was just so little consensus outside of really the top 3 guys, and even the top 3. Like that, we saw it was Jabari Smith for most of the lead up to the draft, and then all of a sudden it's the Magic are taking Paolo Banchero. Like there was no clear Zion Williamson in this draft class, like a clear number 1 prospect. And then from there, the Kings taking Keegan Murray over Jaden Ivey. And after that, it was just like, we could have someone valued at 15 who the other team has valued at 40, or vice versa. Like a guy like EJ Liddell, who was getting 1st round buzz, slipping down into the Pelicans at 41. I think there was just so much variance in terms of like these guys could have been drafted, especially once you get into the late first round. They could have gone anywhere. Like David Roddy was probably not in the top 25 of most people's draft boards, but the Grizzlies, who took him with the pick that they got from the Sixers for Melton, they've been really good at drafting the last couple of years. So I also don't want to question anything they do. Like I'm now in the camp of like, I believe what you guys have established in terms of your scouting department. And if it busts, maybe we'll reevaluate. But for now, like, who saw Desmond Bain, the 30th pick that they got 2 years ago, turning into such an impact player right away?
Is there anything we take away from the draft last night that maybe gives us an idea or a clue about some of these teams heading into free agency? Like, were there players picked or not picked that makes you say, hold on for a minute, guys?
Yeah, the one that stood out to me, and I don't know if this is just my like sleep deprived brain, like I'm Charlie at the whiteboard trying to piece everything together. But yeah, so there's the Hornets, Pistons, Knicks trade where the Hornets reroute the 13 pick through the Knicks to the Pistons. The Pistons get Jalen Duren, the center from Memphis. When the Pistons traded Jeremy Grant to the Blazers on Wednesday, they carved out upward more than $40 million of cap space, enough to offer a max contract. And there are very few teams that can offer a full max right now. So it seemed like the consensus was, okay, they're going to go after DeAndre Ayton, who the Suns do not really appear inclined to match a big offer sheet for him. Now that they got Duren, I wonder if they're going to pivot away and if they're actually going to pivot to Miles Bridges, who plays for the Hornets. So I'm wondering if the Hornets like unintentionally hurt themselves here, because they're also apparently nervous about matching a big offer sheet for Miles Bridges. And it seems like they just potentially at least raise the odds of Detroit offering said offer sheet.
Well, with that being said, then which of these three guys is least likely to go back to his team then? Is it Ayton, as you mentioned, with Phoenix, which that whole situation boggles my mind. Like, I mean, the whole story is they drafted the guy from the area. He loves the community. He's a local kid. His mom immigrated to this country, the whole story there. And it's like, we went to the NBA Finals, but we really don't want you anymore. That blows my mind. Then you had the Zach LaVine thing in Chicago, where it's like, I mean, he's putting out cryptic messages on social media almost as much as Kyrie and Durant are. And then you got Bridges in Charlotte, who just signed Steve Clifford and said, hey, Steve, come on down. You can come back and be our coach. So which of these guys is least likely to stay?
I think LaVine's definitely staying in Chicago.
Okay.
I mean, it's hard to say where Ayton is going because there is a very complicated issue in terms of like signing and trading him that I will not bore anyone with, but financially it's difficult to make deals work unless he's going into a team with cap space. With that said, I think the Hornets will, they might be sending the message that they're like not psyched about matching a max offer sheet for Miles Bridges, but I think they'll end up doing it if they have to. It really sounds like the Suns just, I'm with you. I don't know what happened between them and Ayton because where they were 2 years ago and like Chris Paul's not getting any younger.
Right.
I mean, it sounds like they just genuinely, Jake Fisher of BR has reported this. They like don't believe any center is worth $30 million a year, which, if you don't have an Embiid or a Jokic, maybe that's true. Like we're seeing with Utah right now with Rudy Gobert, like 3-time defensive player of the year, should have a huge trade market in theory, but that contract is really scary. So maybe that's what Phoenix is worried about. But I do think he's playing elsewhere, whether it's Indiana, San Antonio next year, Atlanta. I don't know.
Two more things for you, Bryan, before I let you go. How did you consume the draft last night?
I mean, I was watching it on ESPN, but, obviously mostly on Twitter. So I'm having every pick spoiled for me, of course.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because we were talking about earlier today that, apparently a lot of people didn't know there was an ABC broadcast. Like they didn't know, and I only knew because I saw the clip of Stephen A and Spike Lee freaking out about the Knicks, which that moment was hilarious on social media, but I didn't even know before then there was a broadcast on ABC. Frankly, I actually thought the best coverage I heard or saw anywhere was on ESPN radio, because I thought that PJ Carlissimo was doing an incredible job at like translating the information from the college to pro stuff. No offense to Kendrick Perkins. I think that he repeated the same thing too many times. I think that for as much as I love Malika Andrews, I think they left her on an island too much to fend for herself. And that's a horrible job by whoever's idea it was to set up that crew for her, because and I'm not saying this to be mean, but well, I'll be mean. I guarantee you, if that was Reese Davis or Rachel Nichols, they would have had a better support cast up there than she had last night.
Yeah, I mean, you would think ESPN like could have its pick of the litter in terms of draft analysts. Like Kendrick Perkins, I love him. I mean, he is what he is at this point, but he's not a draft analyst. Like, why are you trying to make him do pro comps for these guys when like I would be surprised if he spent the amount of time needed to actually give good coverage when there are so many smart draft minds out there. Like, I know they just lost Mike Schmitz to the Portland Trailblazers, so that maybe that impacted their coverage, but I would hope we get a better product next year.
All right, I saved the most ridiculous for last. Kyrie, Irving, Kevin Durant.
Oh boy.
I'm just going to put it out there. This is my opinion. It doesn't mean I'm right. I was right about the Knicks not making the playoffs. I'll take that credit, but I might be wrong about this one. I think Kyrie and Durant stay in Brooklyn, and I think this is all a bunch of smoke screens that really comes down to the NBA just happy to have attention.
It feels like that, and that's where I was at first. But the more it goes on, I mean, it's all just a game of chicken, right? Like the Nets are just trying to wrest back control from Kyrie and Durant, and they just like they know they ceded too much power to those guys when they brought them in 2019, and they're just saying like, look, Kyrie, you've been unavailable for a good part of 3 seasons. We don't want to give you a 5-year fully guaranteed max. Defensible. I don't blame them for that. Will they really go to the point where, June 29th comes, the deadline for him to pick up this player option, and they still say, we're not going past like 2 fully guaranteed years or 3 fully guaranteed years? And if that's the case, is Kyrie really willing to give up, $36.9 million in guaranteed salary to take $6.4 million to go sign with the Lakers? I don't think so. But the Knicks are now looming as this wild card because they are salary dumping. They dumped Kemba Walker last night. It sounds like they are confident they have more moves lined up. They're planning on making a run at Jalen Brunson from the Mavericks. But I would think if Kyrie opts out and is seriously considering leaving the Nets, I would think the Knicks, if only out of spite, would try to go after him before they go after Brunson.
Yeah, I don't see a scenario where if Kyrie had the chance to be like, I can go to the Knicks or elsewhere, he wouldn't go to the Knicks, just because I think there's a part of him that realizes that he has a chance to really stick it to the Nets if he wants to. And no offense to the Sixers aren't helping you stick it to the Nets. The Lakers, the Heat, they're not really. The Knicks are sticking, like we were talking about earlier today, like the whole situation with Aaron Judge. I think there's a strong possibility. Like if I could make a place a bet, I would bet that Aaron Judge is a Met next year. Ooh. Just because that situation has gotten so like strange and strained. And I can see Kyrie doing the same thing, being like, I'm going to go next door. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I think it's going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at the landscape of the teams on his reported wish list, and none of them can offer him more than the non-taxpayer mid-level. Most of them are at the taxpayer. So it's like He's $10 million at the
By the way, the
absolute
Clippers,
most.
the Clippers wanted the joke. We all know that.
Right. And I mean, like, I'm sure a lot of those teams would happily take him at $6 million. I'm sure the Lakers would gladly welcome him at $6 million. But, if the Knicks clear 25, like, going from 36.9 to 6 is a lot different than going from 36.9 to 25. And if it's a matter of, the Knicks are willing to make that long-term commitment that the Nets are not, or if the Knicks can even clear even more space for him and get up to 30 million with a long-term commitment, I'm with you. I still think this all blows over. They bring him back on a short-term deal, but I think Kyrie and KD are really going to crank up the pressure as much as possible on the Nets before that happens.
He is Bryan Toporek. Follow him on Twitter at @BToporek. Check out the NBA podcast. The newest edition dropped today. Like, subscribe, download, give it the 5-star review. And as Bryan said, he'll have a new article tomorrow on Forbes Sports, correct?
Yes. Yeah. We'll have non-taxpayer mid-level targets tomorrow and then probably taxpayer on Monday. So lots to look forward to.
All the stuff to get you educated as we are counting down the days to the start of the official NBA offseason, even though I call now the unofficial NBA offseason. Bryan, appreciate you jumping on today. Always good stuff.
Of course. Anytime, Josh. Take care.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Your guys' thoughts and comments on the other side.
Saturday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein. Mike Carlin is back in the studio. We'll look at the Sixers trade and the Phillies in San Diego. The sportsbook consigliere Dave Sharapan checks in from Vegas with his take on the NBA draft and this weekend's best bets. Then it's the Beach Patrol Report, brought to you by Groundhog's Moving Company. This week we'll hear from a captain of the Venter City Beach Patrol, David Funk, winner of 10 South Jersey Lifeguard Championships. All that and more. It's the locker room with Billy Schwein, Saturday morning, 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN, the mobile app.
The city, Atlantic City. It's a fine place to enjoy life until somebody breaks the law. That's where we come in. We promote Springfield Mitsubishi Atlantic City, because they know it's a crime to pay more than a dime. Every vehicle, one dime down, even if you have credit problems. We checked out the competition. Sir, how much do we need for a down payment?
Well, 2,000 down should do it.
Book 'em.
Wait, what are you doing?
Every vehicle should be one dime down.
But that's only at Springfield Mitsubishi Atlantic City. And they got that credit amnesty.
If you bring home $350 a week, you could get up to $25,000 in credit. $25,000 with only one dime down.
Even the new Outlander with third row seating?
Yes, sir. The all-new Springfield Mitsubishi Atlantic City in Pleasantville. They service all makes and models. Springfield Mitsubishi AC.com. Springfield Mitsubishi AC.com. New 22 Mirage 16 Ford, dine down, $249 a month for 72 months at 3% APR plus tax tag title to qualified buyers.
At Lowe's, every pro is an MVP to us. It doesn't matter how big or small your business is. If you're a plumber, roofer, electrician, or remodeler, your business earns back when you spend, gets exclusive offers, and paint rewards. It all adds up to help drive your business. Join Lowe's MVP's Pro Rewards and Partnership Program today. Minimum purchase required. Earnings and paint rewards awarded as Lowe's e-gift cards. Exclusions, restrictions, and more terms apply. Valid through 12/31/22. See Lowe's.com/L/Pro Loyalty Terms. Subject to change. U.S. only.
Welcome to Total Wine & More.
I want something fun in the sun.
You'll love this sparkling wine.
Wow, great price.
Love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly, B21.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with expertise and tools with Windows 11 to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. To do more with a Latitude laptop, Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
What's all the buzz about cleaning your nose, nasal hygiene, and navage? The science is simple. Your nose is the body's air filter for trapping allergens and viruses, but it's not perfect. Like washing your hands and brushing your teeth, it's time to start cleaning your nose too. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril to the back of the nose where most germs and viruses multiply, then flushes them out the other nostril before they reach your lungs. My name's Martin Hoke, and I didn't invent nasal irrigation. It's been around thousands of years. I did invent Navage to make it easy for everyone. In less than 30 seconds, you can clean your nose. And because it's all natural and drug-free, it's safe to use Navage every single day. Are you ready to join nearly 3 million people who use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier? At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage. Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
Hey, I'm Ariana. A little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Spicy Southwest salad is when I take a bite, it's like, wow, I'm getting a punch from the roasted corn. I'm getting a kick from the spicy chicken. It's just great.
Hi, this is Tori. A little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Cobb salad is the avocado lime dressing. It adds to the chicken, the bacon, and the roasted corn. It takes the salad to a whole nother level.
Order a salad for delivery on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
I'm gonna let you in on a secret. I just got a swimsuit for less than $16 at Kohl's, and that was just the beginning. I scored an extra 20% off already great deals, like 40% off patio furniture and 50% off outdoor dining essentials. So if you want more style, more savings, and more sunshine, you know where to go. Select styles, 20% offer ends June 26th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Hi, I'm Flo from Progressive. You know me, I'm a huge football fan, but it can be stressful for us super fans. So Progressive is going to help take your mind off your team for a moment. Instead of thinking about how your team threw the wrong ball on the wrong net, just think about how Home Court Explorer lets you easily compare our direct rates with multiple companies. Well, hope this distraction about Progressive's Home Court Explorer was helpful. It sure helped me from stressing about my team for a bit. Anyway, go sports!
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
You want 8 of the flutes and onyx.
Shira's hand-blown glassware blows right off her store's shelves.
Back for more indigo bowls.
She needs an inventory manager to help keep her stock on lock.
These are 100% borosilicate. Those aren't. Hey, can someone check the temp on the kiln?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by conducting interviews on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
By now, you know that sound. It's the sound of the Home Depot. But what about those sounds? Those are the sounds of a new laundry set that provides a powerful yet gentle clean in less time, making this the sound of savings on top brand appliances. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. Get up to 25% off plus $750 instant savings on select appliances. Valid June 22nd through July 13th. U.S. only. Gas dryer extra. See store for details.
With GMF financing, approved credit excludes Corvette and prior sales. There's big news just announced from Bennett Chevy in Egg Harbor Township. Bennett's got huge savings on every new Chevy in stock. And right now, this is huge. Bennett's paying a record-breaking minimum $10,000 for any trade, running or not. That's at least $10,000 towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. And we're loaded with them, so we're having a pre-owned liquidation. Hurry in for a minimum $10,000 for even the worst trade. And just think how much more you'll get for a good quality trade. As for new Chevys, unlike other dealers, Bennett's not selling over a factory sticker. Plus, there's 0% available financing. Stuck in a lease? We can get you out early, any make, any model, and we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't buy one of ours. Stop in for a quick quote. Never any pressure, never any obligation, because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. So come on and find new roads at Bennett Chevrolet, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
We went long with Bryan there, but just too much good stuff to squeeze in on 1 hour here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. All right, here's the rundown. Stanley Cup Finals tonight, 7:30 p.m. here on 97.3 ESPN FM. I want the Lightning to win so the series goes longer, but I got a feeling that the Avs are going to close it out tonight. Tomorrow, Billy Schwein in the locker room at 10 a.m., followed by Yankees and Astros at 12:30 here on 97.3 ESPN FM. Of course, we will be back on Monday, Sports Patch with Mike Yell from 2 to 6. I'll be back on at 6 p.m. here for Game Night. Don't forget to download the 97.3 ESPN mobile app for everything you need to know in Philadelphia sports. Also, don't forget, download the app. You listen to the 97.3 ESPN wherever you go, and it's free thanks to First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Saturday on ESPN Radio.
Gone! A line drive home run to left center for Alvarez.
The top two teams in the American League go head-to-head in the Bronx when Yordan Alvarez and the Houston Astros face Aaron Judge and the New York Yankees.
They make the grab. Another great play from Aaron Judge.
The Yankees and Astros. Coverage begins tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern. Listen to Major League Baseball on 97.3 ESPN.